GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good morning, Montreal. I'm Lauren Dupuis. A citizen just uncovered a 390-million-year-old meteor crater in Côte Nord, and police seized 7 guns in a drug trafficking probe. Traffic's clear, though Honoré-Mercier Bridge will run single-lane next week. And Steve's Music Store marks its final day. Over to you, Ryan.
Chloe Minas came off the bench and scored a late penalty, securing a 1-0 win for the Montreal Roses over Halifax Tides on Sunday.
The Roses held onto that 1-0 lead after the penalty, finishing the match with a clean sheet against the visiting Halifax Tides.
The victory came in the Northern Super League, with the Roses defeating Halifax Tides by 1 goal on Sunday.
All right, let's get into it, starting with the Honoré-Mercier Bridge construction delays affecting commuters this week. Good morning, Montreal. Citizen Gilles Lapont has uncovered a hidden meteor crater in Quebec's Côte Nord region, a find that rewrites part of the province's geological record. While scrolling through Google Maps, Lapont noticed a circular pit that stood out from the surrounding terrain. Further analysis confirmed the depression is a 390-million-year-old impact site from the Devonian period, a formation that had never been documented before. The discovery, first reported in 2024, highlights how everyday tools can reveal ancient mysteries buried beneath the landscape. Scientists say the crater adds a rare data point for understanding the frequency of extraterrestrial impacts during that era. Local authorities plan to protect the site, while researchers prepare detailed field studies to map its dimensions and assess any mineral deposits it may hold, and to share the discovery with the broader scientific community.
Police in the La Salle district seized 7 firearms late June after a West Region narcotics unit uncovered an arsenal while probing a family suspected of drug trafficking. Investigators focused on a father and his adult son, both alleged to be involved in a network moving narcotics across the city. The operation, conducted by the Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal, resulted in the removal of the weapons and the seizure of additional evidence tied to the drug ring. Authorities said the discovery is evidence of a link between illegal firearms and the province's narcotics trade. The suspects remain in custody as detectives continue to map the distribution channels and identify any further accomplices. No injuries were reported, and the police department has not disclosed whether any charges have been formally laid yet.
Yesterday night, a woman from the Notre Dame de Grace neighborhood returned home from vacation to find the driveway to her house sealed off by road construction on a local street. The work, part of an ongoing street rehabilitation project, has blocked the only vehicle access, leaving her unable to drive out. The obstruction was first reported late Monday evening and remains in effect this Tuesday morning, preventing her from leaving the residence by car and affecting any nearby traffic that relies on the same entrance. The blockage continues, with the driveway still inaccessible. Officials have not announced when the driveway will be reopened, underscoring the impact of the current roadwork on residents in the NDZHAY area as the project proceeds. She remains at home awaiting a resolution, while neighbors watch the site for any change.
2 private colleges in Quebec shuttered abruptly late last week, leaving several hundred international students without a place to continue their studies. The Collège Supérieur de Montréal and its sister campus in SHAI-Arbrook both announced closures without warning, stranding students who had arrived from abroad only months earlier. Administrators said financial difficulties forced the sudden shutdown, but officials have not yet detailed a plan to relocate the affected learners. Provincial education authorities are now reviewing the situation, and Quebec Ministry of Education confirmed it is coordinating with the schools to safeguard student rights. A task force with immigration officials has been created to explore transfer options and keep study permits. Consulates of students' home countries have been notified. Campus housing contracts were terminated, and tuition refunds remain uncertain. The disruption comes as Quebec's post-secondary sector grapples with enrollment pressures, and families are scrambling to secure alternative programs for displaced students.
Air Canada rolled out a new shuttle bus service for its passengers at Montreal Pierre Elliott Trudeau International Airport, debuting early this morning. The dedicated buses will travel through express lanes, and use a private entrance directly into the terminal, cutting travel time compared with regular road routes. The airline says the service is designed to give flyers a smoother, faster connection between the city and the airport, especially during peak rush hours. The shuttle will run every 15 minutes from a central pickup point near the downtown core, with capacity for up to 30 passengers per vehicle. Air Canada officials noted the addition complements existing public transit options and aims to ease congestion on the main highways leading to the airport. Travelers can now expect a more streamlined journey from the moment they leave the city streets to boarding their flight. Later, we'll unpack the one-lane construction on the Honoré-Mercier Bridge causing major delays, and the hidden meteor crater story. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Welcome back. I'm glad you're still with us. Now let's turn to Ryan Mercer for the local stories you need to know.
Construction on the Honoré-Mercier Bridge will shrink the crossing to a single lane for traffic in both directions starting July 17th and running through August 3rd. The Ministry of Transport says the work is essential to finish summer repair work on the span that links the city with the South Shore. Drivers can expect queues to build quickly, especially during rush hour, as the bridge is a main route for commuters heading to work or school. The ministry advises motorists to plan extra travel time, consider alternate routes such as the Jacques Cartier or Champlain bridges, and stay alert for changing lane markings. Freight operators are warned that delivery schedules may be impacted, and public transit routes that cross the bridge could see adjusted timings. Officials will monitor traffic flow and adjust signage as needed to keep movement as smooth as possible.
Canada's federal government will allocate $71 million to strengthen youth mental health services across Quebec. The funding, announced today, is aimed at expanding programs that address the increasingly complex mental health challenges faced by young people, many of whom also struggle with housing and food insecurity. Health officials say the money will support additional counseling resources, crisis hotlines, and community outreach initiatives designed to reach vulnerable youth in both urban and rural areas. The investment comes as recent surveys indicate a steady rise in anxiety, depression, and related disorders among Quebec's younger population. By directing resources toward integrated support services, the government hopes to mitigate the impact of socioeconomic stressors on mental well-being. The program is set to launch later this year, with rollout plans to be finalized in the coming months.
Today, the Quebec government announced extra funding for two women's sport groups, Philactive and Egale Action. The province's latest allocation is aimed at boosting female participation in athletics across the region. Officials said the money will help expand programming, improve facilities, and support coaching initiatives that encourage girls and women to stay active. Philactive, which runs community fitness classes, and Egale Action, focused on equity in sports, both welcome the boost as a sign that the government remains committed to gender-balanced sport development. The announcement follows a series of previous investments targeting grassroots clubs and school teams. By directing resources to these organizations, the province hopes to create more opportunities for women to train, compete, and lead in a variety of disciplines, from team games to individual events. Local families and schools are expected to benefit as new programs roll out over the coming months.
Funding for the Biosphere Museum just got a boost. The city, the province, and the federal government together pledged $27 million, a package that will be delivered over a shorter period than previous grants. The money will help keep the iconic geodesic dome running, support new exhibitions, and cover essential maintenance, meaning families can continue to enjoy the science and environmental programs without interruption. Officials said the faster-track funding reflects the site's importance as a tourist draw and an educational resource for school trips. With the additional support, the museum plans to upgrade its interactive displays and improve accessibility, so visitors of all ages can explore climate research and sustainable design. The announcement comes as the summer season peaks, offering a fresh reason for residents to spend a day inside the dome.
Traffic on the access road to the airport has been snarled, with drivers reporting queues that stretch for the final 1.5 kilometers. Officials say the slowdown can add up to 40 minutes to a trip that would normally be a quick few minutes. The bottleneck began yesterday and remains in force this morning, catching commuters and travelers alike off guard. Motorists heading to catch early flights are advised to allow extra time, while rideshare drivers report longer wait periods for pickups. The congestion appears linked to a combination of construction work and a surge in afternoon departures. Police have deployed traffic officers to direct vehicles, but the flow remains sluggish. Those planning to leave for the airport later today may want to consider alternative routes or depart earlier than usual.
Let's get a look at your morning forecast with our weather team, staying ahead of Montreal's spring skies.
Falling pressure and a northwest jet stream are priming Montreal for a scorching, dry July 13th. On this date, the all-time high stands at 31.1 degrees, recorded in 2013 during a relentless heat wave that pushed the city well above its usual summer peak. The record low is 13.6 degrees, set in 2017 when an Arctic blast slipped unusually far south. By contrast, the climate normal for mid-July hovers around 26 degrees high and 16 low, underscoring how today's warmth sits above average, while the cold record remains a distant outlier. The live radar map shows a clean sky across the province, with no precipitation echoes moving in from the west or north. This quiet signature reflects a high-pressure ridge aloft, reinforced by a dry air mass that the jet stream is steering well clear of the region. With the atmosphere stable and moisture scarce, we expect the city to stay dry through the morning and into the evening. Turning now to today's outlook. At 7, Montreal sits at 21 degrees, mainly clear, humidity 80%, and a gentle southwest breeze at 13 kilometers per hour, gusting to 24. Pressure is near average but falling, indicating an unsettled system on the horizon, while the jet stream races overhead at 94 kilometers per hour from the northwest, funneling warm air aloft. As the day progresses, temperatures climb to 34 degrees by mid-afternoon, first under overcast skies, then breaking to clear as the sun arcs higher. The UV index reads 6. No precipitation is forecast, and there are no active weather alerts. The atmosphere will remain dry, with the falling pressure hinting at a possible shift later in the week. Tuesday brings a scorching high of 35 degrees and a low of 20, wrapped in overcast cover that may linger into the evening. Wednesday cools slightly with a high of 31 and a low of 20, offering a clear sky and a break from cloudiness. Thursday returns to a milder high of 26 and a low of 16. The day is clear, but carries a 25% chance of rain, a subtle reminder of the approaching trough. Friday mirrors Thursday's temperatures, 26 high and 16 low, under overcast conditions that could linger. Saturday drops to a high of 25 and a low of 16, with light rain and a 50% chance, signaling the first wet spell of the weekend. These swings highlight a transition from the current heat to a cooler, more unsettled pattern later in the week. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunrise is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic's clear, the Roses Road that penalty lift. We'll preview lineup and honor Steve's music store closing after 61 years. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
All clear across the city this morning. No accidents on the autoroute, no delays on the metro. The major arteries Autoroute Quinns, Autoroute Vingt-Quatre, Boulevard St. Laurent, Rue Saint-Arbrook are moving freely. Drivers can expect a smooth start to their commute. Looking ahead to the afternoon, traffic typically builds on the southwest corridor. Expect heavier flow on Autoroute Quinns near the Descartes interchange and on Boulevard St. Laurent as it heads downtown. The downtown core around Rue St. Catherine and Rue Peel often sees a slowdown once the rush picks up. If you're heading toward the airport, keep an eye on Autoroute Vingt-Quatre near the exit 15, where congestion can start early. Eastbound traffic toward the plateau may begin to slow near Avenue du Mont-Royal as the sun climbs. Transit remains on schedule, with the Green Line running on time and the commuter trains on the West Island running without issue. Stay tuned for any updates as the day progresses.
Looks like the Montreal calendar is quiet today, with no major events on the docket. Keep an eye on our updates for tomorrow's happenings and enjoy a relaxed morning. And now here's Tyler with sports.
Montreal soccer is riding high, and the Habs made a notable move. The Montreal Roses picked up a crucial Northern Super League win Sunday, edging the visiting Halifax Tides 1-0. Substitute Chloe Menas was the hero, stepping off the bench and converting a penalty in the 77th minute to seal the result, according to CBC Sports Soccer. The Roses are also strengthening their squad off the pitch. The club announced the signings of Marie-Yasmine Aladou and Yves Perisset, two internationally pedigreed players. CBC Sports Soccer reports the additions as high-profile moves aimed at elevating Montreal's roster depth and experience. A chapter has closed in Montreal hockey. The Canadiens traded longtime forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for future considerations. CBC Sports NHL reports the deal, marking the end of Gallagher's run in Montreal after years as one of the franchise's most recognizable faces.
Steve's Music Store, on St. Laurent Boulevard in the Myland, has been a fixture of Montreal's music scene for 61 years. Founded by a passionate saxophonist, the shop has stocked everything from vintage guitars to sheet music, and it's where generations of local bands first tuned their amps and found encouragement. This week, the owners announced the final location will close its doors next month, ending an era of in-person mentorship and community jam sessions. Neighbors say the storefront feels like a living archive of the city's sound, and its loss will be felt in rehearsal studios and school hallways alike. Steve's has reminded us that a single shop can keep a city's rhythm alive. And now a note as we celebrate Steve's Music Store, closing its doors after 61 years of serving Montreal's music lovers.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on gmna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
At the corner of Rue St. Laurent and Boulevard St. Laurent, the iconic facade of the former Montreal Forum is humming with a new kind of anticipation. Inside, the familiar arches that once framed the roar of 1,000 hockey fans now cradle the soft glow of fresh-lit aisles, as Maxi prepares to open its doors to the neighborhood. Longtime resident Marie-Claude watches the final pallet of crisp apples being stacked, her eyes tracing the same wooden beams that once supported a championship banner. A local school group, chaperoned by a retired referee, wanders the space, pointing out where the center ice line once lay, then pausing to sample a warm croissant still steaming from the bakery counter. The scent of butter and fresh dough mingles with the faint echo of past chance, turning the moment into a bridge between memory and everyday life. When the ribbon is cut tomorrow, families will step into a grocery store that honors the arena's spirit while feeding the community's future. It feels like the city is turning a beloved chapter into a new shared story.
On a crisp autumn morning along the highway that threads Terrebonne to Montreal, a police cruiser glided beside 3 silver sedans that had just fled a downtown convenience store. Officer Leah Boushar, her radio crackling with calm commands, kept a steady distance, aware that the winding road could become treacherous for anyone. As the sun painted the sky in soft gold, a farmer's market stall on the roadside burst into spontaneous applause, people who had paused their own errands to watch the scene, hopeful for a safe resolution. The pursuit halted not with sirens screaming but with a gentle hand. One of the drivers, a young mother clutching a crumpled photograph of her child, rolled down her window and raised her hands, her voice trembling but sincere. The officers responded with measured patience, stepping out to speak, offering reassurance rather than force. Within minutes all 3 surrendered, their relief palpable as they exchanged smiles with the officers who had become unexpected allies. Moments like this remind us that even in a fast-moving world, compassion can slow the pace and guide us home.
Thank you, Montreal, for watching the local sunrise. Today's glimpse into the hidden 390 million-year-old meteor crater reminded us how much our province still has to uncover. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Stay safe and enjoy the morning.